Empty highways, darkness, the wind whispers. And sometimes something is watching you. Welcome to Haunted Fear Tales. Tonight I'll share 3 real-life highway horror stories from across the US, tales that will make you think twice before driving alone at night. Like, subscribe, and share your own stories, if you dare. Now, let's step into the darkness of highway horror stories. Story 1. The Vanishing Hitchhiker on Route 93. I grew up in Vermont. Quiet, rural roads, small town life. Nothing really out of the ordinary. But there's one stretch of highway I'll never forget. Route 93, just outside Concord, New Hampshire. Locals sometimes whisper about strange things out there, especially at night. Back then, I thought it was just another ghost story people told to spook teenagers. One night, I learned the hard way that they weren't just stories. It was early fall, crisp air, the trees lining the road exploding in shades of orange and red. I had just gotten off a late shift from my job at a diner. The highway was almost empty, just the hum of my old Honda struggling up the dark curves. I remember thinking how peaceful it felt, that kind of silence you only get when you're miles away from everything. Then I saw her, a young woman, standing on the shoulder of the road, half hidden in the shadows of the trees. She was wearing this pale blue dress that looked old-fashioned, like something out of the 1970s, and her hair was long, tangled and wet, as if she had just climbed out of a river. She wasn't moving, just staring at me as I drove past. I told myself to keep going, but something about her face stuck with me. It was pale, almost glowing in my headlights. Against every ounce of better judgment, I pulled over a little further ahead, figuring maybe she needed help. I leaned across the seat and rolled down the window. "You okay out here?" I called. Silence, no movement. She just kept staring. I was about to drive off when she suddenly started walking toward me. Slow at first, then quicker, until she was practically gliding. My stomach dropped. I swear her feet weren't even touching the ground. I slammed the gas, tires screeching. But before I even hit 30 miles per hour, I glanced into the rearview mirror. She was sitting in the back seat. I froze. My hands were gripping the wheel so hard I thought I'd crush it. She just sat there, completely silent, staring straight ahead with those deep gray eyes that felt older than time. I wanted to scream, to tell her to get out, but no words came. My mouth went completely dry. Then she spoke, but not in a normal voice. It was soft, almost a whisper, yet it echoed through the car like it was filling every corner of the night. "Drive. Don't look back." I didn't dare argue. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. I pressed the gas pedal and the Honda shuddered forward. Every time I glanced at her, her expression was unreadable. It was like she wasn't entirely human. The road ahead twisted through dense forests. The moonlight barely penetrated the canopy. My headlights flickered, once, twice, and I swore I saw shadows moving alongside the car, mimicking our speed. She didn't flinch, didn't say a word, but I felt her eyes on me, burning through the darkness. Suddenly a figure appeared in the middle of the road, a man completely soaked, face pale, arms outstretched. I slammed on the brakes. The figure vanished. No skid marks, no splash, just gone. I glanced back. The woman was smiling faintly now, a cruel kind of smile. I tried to call 911, no signal. My phone flickered and died. Panic set in. My headlights began to dim for no reason. That whispery voice came again, right next to my ear. "Turn off the car or stay forever." My hands shook violently. I yanked the key out of the ignition and the car engine died. The road plunged into darkness. Then I felt it, a cold breath on my neck, wet and heavy like ice water poured over my skin. I spun around. Empty seat. No one. Just the faint glow of her eyes reflecting from the back window. Then I heard footsteps. Thousands of tiny, almost invisible footsteps, all around the car, circling, moving closer. I slammed my hands on the horn. Nothing. The sound wouldn't come out. Suddenly the windshield cracked, lines spiderwebbing across the glass as if something invisible were clawing at it. My heart felt like it was trying to escape my chest. Then she spoke again. This time her words were different. "Look in the rear view." I hesitated. Slowly, terrified, I lifted the mirror. My stomach dropped to the floor. The road behind me was full of hundreds of shadowy figures, all pale, all staring, all walking toward the car silently. Their faces were twisted, impossible, like masks of agony. I slammed the car in gear and floored it. The tires screeched, the figures stayed, at the same distance no matter how fast I went. I didn't dare blink. The road twisted into a narrow bridge over a frozen river. Moonlight reflected off the ice, and there she was again, in front of me now, standing on the bridge, unmoving. I swerved. My car hit the guardrail, denting the side. She vanished. Everything went silent. No headlights, no engine noise, no footsteps. Only my own panicked breathing and the faint sound of dripping water somewhere far below. I drove faster, every nerve on fire. Then I noticed it, her handprints pressed on the outside of my car doors, wet and cold like frostbite. I stopped the car. Trembling, I opened the door. Nothing. Just mist curling around the trees. Then a whisper right behind me. "You can't leave." Not yet. I spun around, no one, just the mist, twisting unnaturally. My instinct screamed at me to run, but my feet wouldn't move. Suddenly, the car's radio flickered on. Static, then a voice. My voice, saying, over and over, "Turn back, turn back, turn back." I bolted. The Honda groaned as I slammed the gas. Finally, just as dawn broke, the shadows dissipated. The road returned to normal. I glanced at the back seat, empty. My heart still racing, I didn't stop until I reached Concord, sunlight cutting through my panic. Weeks later, I went back to that stretch of Route 93, daylight this time, trying to convince myself it had all been a nightmare. The road was empty, quiet, peaceful, no footprints, no broken guardrails, nothing. But on the driver's side door, scratched faintly into the metal, were words I'd never forget. "Next time, I'll ride with you forever." Even now, I don't drive that highway at night. I don't think I ever will. And every time I close my eyes at night, I see her, smiling from the back seat. Story 2. The Phantom Truckers on Route 66. I was heading west on Route 66, somewhere between Kingman and Flagstaff, Arizona. It was summer, heat still clinging to the asphalt even at night. I'd rented a beat-up Jeep for the road trip, and I was loving the solitude. The endless desert stretching on both sides, the stars burning bright above. The highway was mostly empty, except for the occasional rig, headlights piercing the darkness. I was singing along to the radio, trying to shake off the fatigue from hours of driving, when I noticed it, an old semi-truck, rusty and dented, suddenly tailing me from far behind. Nothing unusual except that it stayed exactly the same distance from me, no matter how fast I went. At first I thought maybe I was imagining it, but as I glanced in the rear view, I realized the truck's headlights weren't normal. They flickered unnaturally, like they were breathing. And then I noticed the driver. It was impossible to make out any human features, just a dark silhouette, hands twitching on the wheel in jerky, unnatural movements. I sped up. The Jeep rattled, tires screaming across the hot asphalt. The truck stayed with me, perfectly synced. I tried honking, flashing my lights. Nothing. It mirrored every move I made. My palms were slick with sweat, and I felt my heart hammering in my throat. Then came the noise. Not the engine, not the wind, something else. A low hum, mechanical but alive, vibrating through the Jeep's metal frame. And then the horn, my horn, sounded from inside the truck. But I knew I hadn't honked. I looked back. The truck was closer now, impossibly close, and its headlights lit up the desert. And that's when I saw them, hundreds of faces pressed against the windows, ghostly pale, eyes hollow, mouths twisted into silent screams. I screamed too, slammed the gas. I lost control for a second as the Jeep hit a pothole, and when I regained it, the truck was gone. But the sense of being watched didn't go away. I glanced at every mirror, every shadow, but there was nothing. Yet. That's when I saw a figure appear in the middle of the road, a man standing perfectly still, blocking my path. I swerved violently. The Jeep spun but didn't hit him, and then, as I steadied the wheel, he vanished into thin air, leaving nothing but the faint smell of burnt rubber. I realized I wasn't alone. Not truly. Every truck I'd passed before had been silent, normal. But now, in every reflective surface, the mirrors, The windshield, even the chrome of the dashboard. I could see shapes moving, shadowy figures that weren't in the road. They didn't blink, they didn't breathe, but they were there, watching, waiting. The low hum returned, louder now, like hundreds of semi-truck engines running together, all around me. I wanted to pull over, but the Jeep seemed to have a mind of its own, urging me forward, deeper into the desert. Then I noticed the GPS flickering. The route I had been following for hours now made no sense. The road twisted impossibly, bending back on itself like some kind of loop. Every mile marker I passed was the same. 142, 142, 142. Panic set in. My throat tightened. The truck could appear at any moment, anywhere. I floored it. The hum became a roar, drowning out the radio, my own thoughts. Then came a single word whispered in the air beside my ear. Stop. I slammed on the brakes, Jeep fishtailing, and the roar ceased. Silence again. Too perfect, too unnatural. I didn't dare look back. The road ahead had a faint fog settling, even in the desert heat. Out of the haze, headlights appeared, hundreds of them, flashing randomly, weaving, darting. The hum returned, and I realized they weren't normal trucks. They weren't trucks at all. The shapes were wrong, jagged, inhuman, like machines fused with bodies. And then one of them spoke. A distorted mechanical voice that sounded like my own voice, echoing my words. Keep driving. Forever. I panicked. I swerved off the road, down a narrow dirt path that shouldn't have been there. The Jeep bounced, tires digging into loose sand, headlights illuminating nothing but desert scrub. The shapes followed. No sound of wheels on sand, just floating, perfectly aligned with me. And then I saw it. A shadow in the shape of a human, hanging from the side of the Jeep, impossibly tall, faceless, reaching for me. I slammed the Jeep into a ditch, everything flying, and closed my eyes. When I opened them, the Jeep was back on the highway. Daylight was breaking, no shadows, no truck, no hum, only the empty desert stretching on, normal and silent. I thought I'd finally escaped, but then I glanced in the rearview mirror. Behind me, at the horizon, hundreds of faint silhouettes were standing on the asphalt, waiting. I couldn't tell if they were real or just a trick of the sun, but I didn't dare stop to find out. I made it to Flagstaff, exhausted, shaking, swearing never to drive Route 66 at night again. Weeks later, I looked up stories online, people disappearing on that stretch, semi-trucks that appear and vanish, voices on the radio that aren't there. I realized I hadn't just imagined it. And sometimes when I'm on a long, empty highway, I swear I can hear the faint hum of hundreds of engines in the distance, waiting, and I never stop driving, because I know what happens if I do. Story 3. The Ghost Town, on Highway 321. My name's Jenna. I was driving from Charlotte, North Carolina to Knoxville, Tennessee for a last-minute work assignment. It was mid-fall, leaves turning gold and red, crisp air filling the car through the cracked window. I love road trips, but that day I'd made the mistake of taking the shortcut through Highway 321, a winding two-lane road that locals never recommended at night. By the time the sun dipped below the horizon, the road was empty. Too empty. Every mile, every turn felt like I was being swallowed by the forest. That's when I saw it, a town, or at least I thought it was a town. The lights glowed faintly in the distance, promising gas, food, maybe a restroom. Relief washed over me. I hadn't realized how hungry and tired I was. As I drove closer, the town's emptiness hit me like a cold gust. Streetlights flickered, neon signs buzzed erratically, but not a single car moved, not a single person in sight. The buildings looked old, abandoned, yet maintained. Storefronts with fresh bread and canned goods in the windows, but no people. I shrugged it off. Probably some tourist trap off-season. I pulled into a small diner with a faded welcome sign and parked. The door creaked as I pushed it open. The smell of coffee was thick, too thick. I called out a polite, "Hello?" No reply. And that's when I saw her. A young girl, maybe 10, standing behind the counter. She smiled faintly, just watching me. Her hair was stringy, brown and wet. Her eyes empty. Not vacant exactly, but like she was looking through me, beyond me, somewhere else entirely. I tried to speak. "Hi, can I get something to eat?" She tilted her head and whispered, "You shouldn't be here." I laughed nervously. "I'm just passing through." The girl's smile widened impossibly, unnaturally, and I noticed the diner reflected nothing in the windows, not my Jeep, not the trees outside, nothing. I ran outside, heart hammering. The Jeep was gone. The town stretched endlessly behind me, buildings rearranging themselves subtly. I could swear the diner I'd just left was now 2 blocks over. My GPS blinked erratically. Highway 321 didn't exist anymore. Then I heard the footsteps, hundreds of them. They circled me faster and faster, yet I saw no one. A chorus of whispers rose, unintelligible but urgent. "Stay. Forever. Stay." I sprinted back into the nearest building, an old gas station. Inside, a cashier, a man this time, looked normal, but his face kept shifting. Features stretched, eyes blackened, mouth moving silently in ways that didn't match any words. He extended a hand toward me, and the room filled with a cold wind that felt like ice crawling under my skin. I bolted. The door slammed behind me, leaving only darkness in the parking lot. As I ran toward what I thought was the Jeep, the road shifted again. Trees closed in, bending unnaturally. Shapes flickered between them, humanoid, tall, impossibly thin, with glowing red eyes. Every time I turned to look, they were closer, yet I couldn't tell if they were running or floating. The whispers returned, louder, faster. My ears were ringing, my vision blurred. And then I saw it. Hundreds of cars, lined up, empty, engines running, lights blinking in a sickening pattern. One car door opened. A figure stepped out, a woman in a tattered dress, face hidden by shadows. She moved with jerky, unnatural motions, her head twisting toward me even as she walked away. I froze. She stopped, raised a hand, pointing straight at me. I don't remember how I started running again, only that my lungs burned, legs screaming. Every direction I turned, the town stretched further, infinite, impossible. I tripped and fell near a cracked sidewalk. My phone buzzed. Signal. Relief washed over me, until I saw the screen. Hundreds of missed calls, each from a number I didn't recognize, all labeled 911 in my contacts. Then the whispers were inside my head, clear now. "You can never leave, you belong here." I scrambled up screaming and ran back toward the Jeep, or where it should have been, but the vehicle was now suspended in midair, glowing faintly, as if floating above the asphalt. Desperation overtook me. I charged at it, hands gripping the tire. The Jeep shuddered and then slammed down. So I jumped inside, slammed the doors, and started the engine. The lights flickered, but the Jeep moved, swerving down the road. Behind me, I swear, the town stretched endlessly, buildings bending, lights flashing like they were alive. I pressed the pedal to the floor, not daring to look back. The whispers faded, but a single voice echoed clearly from somewhere inside the car. "Come back, next time." By sunrise, I found myself back on the real Highway 321. The trees, the asphalt, the signs, all normal. My Jeep was intact, no scratches, no dents, nothing. I drove straight to Knoxville, never looking back. But even weeks later, when I close my eyes at night, I can see that town, the endless buildings, the glowing cars, the pale, silent figures, and I know it's still out there, waiting for the next traveler stupid enough to take that shortcut.